Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Finance Hub with Dr. Joseph Eyakewa. My introduction: I am an investment banker, a chartered accountant, a finance professional, an energy economist with about 20 years experience in the finance industry. Initially, we talked about raising expansion capital through equity and then debt. So we can also look at the factors affecting the successful raise of expansion capital. Yes, we know you have the need to raise more funds for your company. Yes, we know there is actually a demand for your product or service. No, yes, we know that there is actually a need. But what are the factors that will make people to say yes, or to say yes, I want to partner with this company, I want to give this company capital, I want to be part of their success story? One, you must have sound records. You must keep proper books of account. You must take record of your everyday businesses and possibly have an accountant or an auditor to put it in the proper format. Because when people want to come for putting money, they want to know what you have done. But historically, where have you been and then where you are going. So after keeping your books, then what are the financial projections? If I will use the word, what can you see? For the reason why you say, please, I need more this thing, because there's something you are seeing and you need to achieve what you are seeing. So what are you seeing? So that can actually be said, what are the projections? What are the number of sales you want to make? What are the number of revenue you want to make? So you must have a realistic projection of what you want to use this money for. So immediately you're able to achieve that, then have a strong corporate governance. One of the challenges of small businesses is that the businesses are actually one-man dominated, but what they call a key man risk. So you should have a corporate governance where you have either an advisory board, a management team, or a board of directors. That is going to give people confidence, investors confidence, lenders confidence to actually either give you money or partner with you. Then you also represent a compelling expansion strategy. So in the next 5 years, where am I going to be? In the next 10 years? In fact, as a youth corper, I read a book about the Toyota story. Now, Toyota expansion strategy is a 50-year strategy. So they have their design. The design they are going to make in the next 50 years is already in the books. So you must have a compelling expansion strategy that when a potential investor or a partner sees it, say, wow, you're actually going somewhere. So that is it. You must have that. Then next, what are the challenges of raising growth capital or expansion capital? What are the things that we even make some people to say, instead of me to raise growth capital, let me just remain the way I am? Because there's going to be dilution of capital. So if you own the business 100% before and you are inviting people, possibly you are ready to let go of 40%, 20%, 10%, 5%. And when you bring in these people, be also be ready to actually answer hard questions. Because now you are accountable to people and not just to yourself. So when these expansion funds come in, people will demand more due diligence, people will demand more accountability, people will demand more openness in what you are doing. And sometimes people don't want to be asked these questions. So if you don't want to be asked these questions, then you will also not actually ready to expand. So you also look at, like I said, ownership dilution is a concern. Then market and economic consideration or uncertainties. Yes, in the books, the strategies might be good, but sometimes when you hit the market, the dynamics could change. Sometimes it might not always work the way you have always anticipated. So be ready for those kind of shock in the market. Then you must align your funding sources with the expansion goals. Because in the course of my capital market career and investment banking career, we've seen cases where people want to raise funds, they come up with these good strategies, so that you have to work with them on the financial modeling. But when the money comes in, they are used for something else. So sometimes the strategy is abandoned and then the money is diverted. So cases of that are littered all over the places. So you find that companies raise money for the purpose of expansion. This expansion was not carried out. The money cannot be accounted for. And again, because this money are what we call the patient capital, especially when they come through equity, those who are equity providers are as good as the owners of the business. So they might not be able to do much. They just hoping that their money will come back one day, but actually the money is being mismanaged. So these are also one of the things people are looking at, that okay, if I even with this fine strategy, if I even give these people my money, am I even sure that they are going to use the money the way it ought to be used? Even the public sector funding, I know we've also raised bonds for state government in those days, and when the money comes in, sometimes the projects are not actually are not executed optimally as it is in the plan. We can also face the plan. So instead of saying, okay, you have this expansion in your head, it looks good, and you also look at the amount involved. Sometimes you might not be able to raise all the amount at the same time. You can say, okay, can we break this expansion strategy or the growth strategies into different phases? So this is phase one. Phase one will cost XYZ. So let's execute phase one. Then we can now move to phase two. Can now move to phase three, like that. Thank you. We'll see you in the next series, and God bless.